Oh, hello everyone. It's me once again, Lazy Hydra. I'm back with another cast here. We've got D East tonight again. Actually, both of our casts this week have been D East, and it's looking to be a fun division. Tonight we've got exciting. We got a new team, Cael'thas Can't Spell. That is a sister team of Can't Counterpick Stupid, who is in C West with their other sister team, which I believe is currently chasing Samuro, so all CCS abbreviations there. But yeah, we're gonna be able to witness their first match ever here, so that's gonna be real fun here as we're already invited into the lobby, so I'm falling a bit behind. So let's jump into the stats. Their opponents are gonna be Full Meta Jacket. So since Cael'thas Can't Spell is a new team, we don't really have anything as far as predictions for them so far. I think some of them might have played a little bit in competitive before, but for most of them, this is their first time. On the other side, Full Metal Jacket has been around for a while. They finished last in C West during Season 8, which is unfortunate, but they've been doing very well in, I believe it's Division 3 in Heroes Lounge so far. So I'm excited to see how they're going to do. I would say they're definitely the favorites. But we'll go ahead and see how it turns out here. As far as the coin flip goes, the home team is Cael'thas Can't Spell, so that's the blue team for this series. And so they took tails, and that was the correct pick, I guess, there, as they won the coin flip and decided to actually go for the map pick. So something you don't see that often when we're talking about lower divisions. A lot of the time you see priority more, so onto the first pick. But they wanted map pick, so they went ahead and banned out Brax's Holdout and Infernal Shrines. Their opponents, Full Meta Jacket, decided to ban out Battlefield of Eternity and Towers of Doom. So that's going to lead us to our first map here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. So I'm really excited for this one. I know some of the members here from Cael'thas Can't Spell. I've played quite a few in-houses in the CCS Discord. There's, in fact, some going on after this, which will probably be streaming as well. And so I know them. They're definitely competent, and I believe that they have a good chance as well here at taking the map. But we'll have to see who comes out on top. Alrighty, getting our teams into the lobby here. So looking at Tomb of the Spider Queen, we're talking about rotations, and we're talking about wave clear a lot. So those are going to be the main focuses. Poke is another important thing, but I'm not sure how much objective and vision control we're going to see from these teams, as we are talking about D East here, so don't have your expectations too high. But I'm excited. I think both of these teams have a decent chance. Right now, let me see here. Sorry, I'm just checking out the teams, making sure I have the right names in for these teams. Just missing on one member here for one of the teams. But yeah, we're going to be jumping in nice and soon here. Thanks, Cael'thas, coming out to support his sister team. Always love to see that. I believe tonight, actually, maybe? No, tomorrow night. I believe tomorrow night we actually have the two other CCS teams, the main Can't Counterpick Stupid, of course, and then currently chasing Samuro facing off in the first week. So that's a exciting early matchup, having the sister teams facing so early. But yeah, that's going to be another good one to keep your eyes out for, as well as, of course, all kinds of great matches happening tonight. Hopefully I'll be able to raid us over to one of them once we finish out with this cast here. But we're going to hopefully get started here. I went and rushed through everything because I saw that we were getting through stuff fast, getting the lobby open, but we ended up with... we ended up with one person holding out for the moment. Here. making sure that the teams are informed here. Perfect. Okay, yeah, so looking at what the bans came in as far as maps, it looks like both of these teams are kind of wanting to get maps where there's a bit more macro focus, maybe. We saw Battlefield, Braxis, Infernal Shrines, all very brawly maps taken away. So I think Tomb is definitely somewhere where you can outplay macro, especially if you're good at controlling vision while rotating your team around and getting ahead in rotations. That's something that's going to be very important here. So that's something that I think is kind of interesting here, that we have our blue team, the new team, picking a map where I would say coordination is essential. But we'll see if they're able to pull it out here, as we should hopefully be getting started any moment, as we finally have our last player in the lobby. I won't expose anyone, but yeah, I don't know. It's always the interesting to see which teams get it done fast, which teams take a while. But we're gonna jump into our draft here any moment now, just waiting for one team, and it's gonna be exciting. So one thing I will be looking for is, since we're R&D East, it's a possibility that we don't see 4-man rotations, but I would hope so, especially since it is Tomb, where it's almost the most important and easiest map to get 4-man rotations on. Hopefully we're going to see that coming through. Cael'thas hitting me with the sleep emojis. I'm not the best at stalling for time. I'm still working on that one. But we're going to go ahead and get started here on our first map, jumping into Tomb of the Spider Queen. Map was picked by the winners of the coin flip in Cael'thas Can't Spell, so we're going to be first pick for Full Meta Jacket. It'll be interesting to see if the map pick choice was just because they wanted to make sure they were getting maps they're strong on, or if they're going to try and throw us for a loop here with a something fancy on the last pick. So keep an eye out for that from the side of Cael'thas Can't Spell. Full Meta Jacket, though, what I would expect to see banned here is just heroes that are good at rotating, good at poking and harassing. Maybe something like a Junkrat is always something that that I enjoy seeing. But we will have to see what ends up coming out for these teams, as the first ban of the night is going to be onto Sonya. So a good bit of research done there. D, of course, a strong Sonya player. So always good to see your teams doing the research, respecting each other in that way. Alright, so on the other side, we're going to see ban coming out here for Cael'thas Can't Spell, and I'm not sure if we see the Zul ban quite yet. Nope, they're going to hold on to it. And it's just going to be an Ana ban. That's another ban of just a hero who in general can control how a game plays, as if Ana is left alone and able to get a good nano boost out every team fight, it is really hard to beat that if you're against it without the correct tools. So just taking out a hero who could really define the way the map goes. And we're going to see the ban onto Cael'thas, so taking out the namesake here. Another hero who plays, I would say, has a similar strength here. He has very good wave clear, but the living bombs and the way that they dictate team fights is reason enough for me to see them just going ahead and getting rid of it. Final ban going to be coming out here. I would expect the Zul. Actually going to be Deathwing. So Zul left up and on a wave clear rotation map. I'm interested to see, is Full Meta Jacket going to bite? Are they going to go for the Zul, or are they going to be suspicious here, thinking there's no way they let him through without a plan? And is Zul going to make it through, maybe? They're definitely taking their time to think about it, but no, it is going to be Zul here. Picked up by Barber. Alright, so now 2 picks here for Cael'thas Can't Spell. I'm not sure if they were trying to get the Zool or what, but they're gonna go for Anduin and Johanna here. Johanna, of course, excellent for the rotations. I think if they had let that through, it would have almost been a game lost early in the draft, because that would have been insane rotation potential for full meta jacket. But there is going to be a Tassadar, the newly reworked, not at all banned or anything. So we're going to have to see how that comes out, as we have an Ariel as well. Maybe seeing something else as a battery, but I guess it is possible that we see an auto attack or W build Tassadar functioning as the battery here. Ban coming out now for Cael'thas Can't Spell. We're looking at probably a main tank ban here, would be my guess, as that is the main role missing, and it's going to be the Garrosh ban. This is something that I like to see a lot in these divisions lower down, is just ban away heroes that can control the game and make you play in a certain playstyle, because if you're able to play how you're comfortable, then you're doing strong, even if it means that the enemy team gets a few of the maybe OP meta picks. And Rainer's going to get banned out as just a solid overall hero for our final ban in this first map. Now, 2 picks here coming in. We're still missing an offlaner and both of the DPS for Cael'thas Can't Spell, and it's going to be Li Ming and Arthas here. So Arthas in the off lane, and then Li Ming as their mage. So I'll be interested to see what they're picking up for their last pick here, because other than Johanna, their wave clear is not anything spectacular. Li Ming does offer a decent amount if you're able to rotate her around from the side, but it's nothing compared to like a Zool and a Tassadar that we're seeing here, as well as the Blaze main tank pickup and a Vala. So Vala going to be the battery for Ariel. As I had suspected, we are going to see that. Tassadar is not going to be the battery. And the last ban here, or last pick, sorry, this is where we potentially see something spicy. I think it has to have some wave clear no matter what it is, because that's going to be Lunara. That is a hero who can definitely get some good clear going with the Splintered Spear and the Nature's Culling, but I'm not sure who I would favor here. Gonna go ahead and start up a poll. Forgot to do that a bit earlier in the draft, as I mess up the command. Very nice. Well, let's see. Who are we thinking is gonna pull out on the first map? I think as far as cops go, I'm liking Full Meta Jacket. They've got some real power picks, and if the Tassadar and Zool don't get pressured, I think they can be dominant in this first map here of our best of 3 series. Alright. A lot of pressure going to be onto the Lunara, I think, as well as Li Ming, but they're going to have to play around the minion waves really well to make sure that they're landing their orbs and their magic missiles. Calamity luckily cannot be blocked, but who knows, maybe we don't see Calamity here. Regardless, I'm certain we're going to have a nice first match here, as we're going to start off with our left team. We've got Stoic playing Lunara, Crushinator playing Arthas, Dorsch on Johanna, Toons on Anduin, and D on Li Ming for Cael'thas Can't Spell. Their opponents are going to be Full Meta Jacket, led by Runtime Logic on the Tassadar, Juggerava on the Blaze, Sergeant Scoops on the Ariel, Souza on the Vala, and Barber on the Zool. Zool says he's rooting for Cael'thas Can't Spell, but Full Meta Jacket is who he's putting his money on. I think that's reasonable. Always like to see the new teams perform well, but I think just from the perspective of draft, definitely looking good so far. And it looks like the poll is going to be mostly in agreement here, as we're going to have 4 out of the 5 people voting in favor of Full Meta Jacket. I think that's a reasonable assumption there. But we're going to see. There's definitely the potential for Cael'thas Can't Spell to prove us wrong. Although right now they're getting zoned out pretty well from these gems. Good job there from Runtime Logic and Souza pulling out the damage on the front line to deny the step up there. Azul getting the double rotations in. Oh, gotta remember to turn that off. But we're gonna have, looking at talents at level 1, pretty much what you'd expect. The main thing that I find interesting here is we have the Neural Stim Pack for Blaze, so not going for the Unstoppable. But some nice early pressure here from the Vala onto this turret is going to get them some early structure damage, and that's something that can be very powerful when the Web Weaver waves come down and enable you to potentially get the first 4 of the game. Rotations, looks like it's pretty much just a trade here. Swapping lanes, the two teams are. But we have Vala sneaking down through vision to the siege camp, gonna try and get the pressure going in, as Arthas definitely not able to keep up with Zul on the lane clear there. Looks like the response is gonna be onto the Bruisers, as Stoic and Toons gonna start those out. Blue team trying to keep up right now in the rotations, but missing a little bit here in the mid lane. This is something that I mentioned, and I think it'll be interesting to see how we're gonna deal with it. Just always, I feel like, going to be a bit behind on the rotations. Level 4 is coming in for both teams. Nothing too unexpected here. Builds all pretty standard. Currently, all 5 members of Full Meta Jacket in the mid lane. Gonna send Zul bot, but they've got to clear out this Bruiser camp. Meanwhile, Arthas has been trying to deal with this siege camp in the bottom lane. Doing pretty well, but there is a good bit of damage coming onto this front wall, and that's something that I'm really liking from Full Meta Jacket. They're using their slight advantages to make sure they're getting pressure onto the structures, which will enable their first Web Weaver wave when they're able to get that. Actually having Johanna here, Dorsch, stepping up pretty far, trying to make sure that she can get the gems there. And we're going to have rotations going out in favor of Cael'thas Can't Spell for the moment, but that is largely due to the fact that we have the Bruiser camp taken for Full Meta Jacket, as well as most of their gems turned in. We are going to see the turn in from Cael'thas Can't Spell as well, and they're actually the first ones having the potential for turn in here. Putting a lot of damage on the Juggerov. Well done there by Stoic on the Lunara and D on the Li Ming. But with this Bruiser camp pushing in, I would expect this first objective to come out for the side of Full Meta Jacket. Runtime Logic and Juggerov turning in. They're 6 right now. Oh, but Arthas, Crushinator in the bottom lane, is going to barely get it. And that's going to be first objective for Cael'thas Can't Spell. Proving me wrong. Arthas did take a good bit of pressure there, but going to be able to tap up, as right now looks like the mid lane is going to be the focus for Cael'thas Can't Spell. Even having Lunara leave that lane in the top, going to let those few minions die in hopes of getting some pressure into the mid lane. Some nice blind coming out from Johanna. Going to try and make sure that they're getting every bit of push that they can. But with these changes, always have to play it safe, especially when you have the Tassadar force wall there. And a lot of damage coming out from the shock ray on Tassadar as well. You can see how much it chunked Stoic. That stacks very well, especially with this level 1 quest, the static charge. It can really chunk the enemy team if you're able to stack it up and keep landing it. Now, rotations back to normal pretty much, and it looks like we're going to have the turn in for Full Meta Jacket pretty soon here, unless Cael'thas Can't Spell decides to work to deny it. They do have Lunara's Wisp here, which is going to give them a little bit of vision. But currently only 5 gems needing to be turned in, and I don't think Cael'thas Can't Spell is going to be able to deny it. Ooh, getting onto Runtime Logic there, but alright, well, they proved me wrong. Gonna be able to force back full meta jacket for the moment, but it looks like Barber going to be able to get the turn in here in the bottom lane. Crescinator not quite able to stop him. Actually getting rooted here by Zool and taking quite a bit of damage. Definitely well played there from the Zool. Can definitely be a lane bully, especially against someone like Cael'thas. He can just keep poking away with the Qs. But as expected, we are going to have the objective coming in now for our red team. A little bit of a push here in the mid, just trying to make sure the lane's pushed out and the structures are had. As D actually going to get whipped out of the way of the jet propulsion. Nice little save. Just going to be thankful to Sergeant Scoops on the Ariel for that one. Big orb going on to Juggerop on Blaze, and this is something that I'll be interested to see if later in the game, when we have some more damage potential, if we're going to see him get punished for not having that unstoppable at level 1 more. But right now, it's Dorshu's taking a lot of damage. Gets up the gets up the trait shield there in time to save themselves as ults are in for our red team. Zool actually dying in the bottom lane to the towers. Got a bit too aggressive there, and it looks like the Arthas slows and roots were enough, but it is going to result in the fort falling as well. Ults in for both teams now. We have Army of the Dead. Army of the Dead. Okay, for some reason my brain said, wait, no, that's not what it's called. But Army of the Dead, Light Bomb, Leaping Strike, Force Palm, and the Blessed Shield for our blue team. Looking at the other team, we actually have the Combustion coming in, so going for an aggressive move here with the Blaze. We have Rain of Vengeance, we have the Poison Nova, the Crystal Aegis, and, of course, the Black Hole. Gems now in favor of the blue team, although they are down the 1 fort. That pick onto Zool did result in some gems being lost here. But the Bruiser camp coming out for both teams. It looks like the positioning is going to actually be a little bit favorable for the blue team. They're going to be able to defend the red team's Bruiser camp and push in with their own here, I think. Unless we see the rotation in from Barber, which we do. And with that 4v5, looks like both are just going to be cleared up without too much happening. You can see there, though. The Shock Ray from Tassadar dealing so much damage, chunking Stoic for almost half his health. The commitment, though, as we have the Blessed Shield coming out from Dorsh, the Poison Nova in response, Light Bomb not going to come out in time, and Johanna's going to fall, followed by Arthas and Li Ming. That is a lot of gems lost. They had the full turn-in ready, but now they're down to 21. All on Stoic, who's sitting at 100 health, going to have to back off, and that's going to be a fort here, as well as probably a turn-in for the red team. Taking a look at the stats, Zool sitting on top of the hero damage here, barely above Vala. So a lot of damage coming out from those two. Lunara closest on the blue team with Li Ming close behind her, but as you would expect, Zool putting in so much siege. No one really able to keep up with him. Level 13 is actually also going to be here for the red team as they get this push. That's really big. Going to allow them to be even more aggressive. They're actually even just going for this fort before the web weavers arrive. So they're looking to get a lot of value from this second turn in here, as we have the Suppressive Fire, Gloom, Rapid Harvest, so committing to the W build, which we have seen so far for Zool. We have the Piercing Lash, and we have the Shadow Walk, so the new kind of nerfed version of the Dimensional Shift from Tassadar, looking for the safety for himself from a potential Leaping Strike from the Lunara or the Blessed Shield even. Even with the pull, Johanna's going to end up falling there. Tried to commit to the Blessed Shield to try and get some team fight there, but the lack of interrupts onto the Combustion is really proving to be super powerful for full meta jacket, and is going to result in them taking the kill there onto the frontliner. Just rotating for the siege camp, it looks like now, as blue team pretty much entirely pushed in at this point. Not quite going to be able to do anything at the moment as they don't have the gems for a turn-in, and they're just focusing on keeping the lanes pushed out. Stoic needs to be careful. They've got all of the gems for their team, and Full Meta Jacket is rotating in for him. I think Lunara probably gets out here just fine, though. Yep. Thanks to the bonus movement speed there from the trait, gonna be able to get out just fine. Siege Giants pushing in the bot lane, but it looks like with the threat of a boss, Cael'thas Can't Spell is going to be pulled away from it, and this is actually, I think, a fight that they really need, but they're not going to go for it. That's there's currently a level lead, if we're looking at it, for the side of Full Meta Jacket, so still a little bit of time for the even talent tier fight for Cael'thas Can't Spell, but if they want it, they have to take it pretty soon here. And right now, Full Meta Jacket does seem happy to just soak their lanes and not take a fight as they get closer and closer to their third turn-in of the game. And they're getting all of those gems turned in right now. Bruiser Camp started for both teams here, as you would expect, just taking them pretty much off cooldown. The level 16 is very close for the side of Full Meta Jacket, and they're only 15 gems away from their turn-in, so the pressure is very much on at this point. I think Cael'thas Can't Spell needs to find a pick here or find something so that they're not potentially either having to fight down 16s or fight into them as the push comes in with their turn-in. Tassadar and Zool making such quick work of the Bruiser Camp in the mid lane, and they're only about 9 gems away now from their turn-in. Teams really just rotating around each other, intent on not fighting. Interesting, I think that's interesting from the perspective of Full Meta Jacket now, as they are up 16. But Cael'thas Can't Spell just wants to get their talents and make sure that they're at least able to defend the turn-in. That being said, it looks like we're going to have the engage coming out regardless from Full Meta Jacket. Black Hole and Combustion both ripped there, with only with only Wave of Force. Getting everything messed up today. With only Wave of Force used there from the Li Ming, and so that is a really favorable trade in cooldowns. If Cael'thas Can't Spell is able to get 16s from this wave, this looks like actually a really good time for them to try and turn something around, get a team fight with equal talents here, with them having enough here for the turn-in. They're committing Army of the Dead, but Full Meta Jacket is just going to retreat. Zool in the bot lane, so even if they were, even if they wanted to take that fight, not going to, down one member, but going in to deny the turn-in, and that is going to be enough. Blessed Shield immediately ripped, well played there. Zool gets interrupt on his ult, and Blaze and Tassadar are the first to fall. Barber and Souza both getting low as well, but D too low to commit for the resets, so it's going to be... Actually, the turn-in came in from Zool here. Oh, so that was why they were going in. They were trying to delay to make sure they got their turn-in, and they did. Zool getting that for them, but with the 2 kills here, Cael'thas Can't Spell is going to be able to get some comeback potential here, clearing this pretty easily, I would imagine, and going to be able to then get a turn-in of their own potentially. Looks like right now it is going to just be team Cael'thas Can't Spell clearing out the web weavers here. They have more than enough here for their turn-in. In fact, it's not unlikely that if they turn in now, they would be able to get another turn-in directly after, as the waves still have yet to be pushed out all the way, and they're pretty close already. So this is definitely a potential turning point here. We see all of Full Meta Jacket in the bottom lane, securing the turn-in, and so now they're going to go for the web weavers here, focusing on the top lane, as that is the boss lane, making it the highest potential lane for ending here on this map. So I think regardless of what we've seen so far, this is now on Full Meta Jacket to make sure that they can keep their lead here. This is the point where they have to show that they're able to continue to play better. And this is also the point where Cael'thas Can't Spell wants to force something and secure their comeback here. For now, though, the lane pretty easily cleared by Full Meta Jacket. Arthas finishing his root quest at level 1. That is a nice power spike for him. Going to have that much easier to land root here. Poison Nova and Combustion being committed. Light Bomb coming out as a response, but Black Hole pushes the blue team away. Dorsch getting low on the Johanna, and Arthas getting chunked pretty decently as well. He's going to fall, and that's going to be the first kill here. Runtime Logic using his Shadow Walk to chase even, as D now getting caught out, not able to get the reset onto Tastar, and that's going to be the second kill here for Full Meta Jacket, protecting their top fort, and looks like they're going to be able to protect their mid fort as well, so a very nice defense there from them. And with that, they're going to look to take this boss now. They are very close to level 20 talents. They've been keeping up on Soak very well. If we go ahead and check my cheat sheet here and take a look at the XP. So far, about the majority of this XP lead coming from heroes and then passive experience. So actually, the minion soak in favor of our blue team, but the passive experience from getting all 3 of those forts early, as well as the kills, going to allow for the early level 20 here, and about a level and a half lead with it. This is a scary situation if you're on Cael'thas Can't Spell. You're defending against a boss and 20 talent tiers with only the fort in the way. You do, of course, have the core mechanics, which will help out if it does make it to the core. But it looks like they're going to just commit for the fight. A very nice Aegis. They're going to save Vala, and the black hole into the boss stun kills 2. Arthas and Johanna get killed in the front line. That's so many gems dropped, and that is going to be most likely this game, as now the boss still at 2/3 health, as well as the full team of Full Meta Jacket marching towards the core. They're going to be able to cut through this easily, and that's going to be game number 1 going in favor of Full Meta Jacket. GG, and well played. Alright, that was a really nice counter engage there. Johanna wanted to go in. They saw the low health, but the perfect timing. Oh, as I leave the statistics screen, sorry, you're gonna have to clip that if you want to see the stats. Talents were up, so you can see those. But yeah, that was a super clutch Aegis. Stopped Li Ming from getting the reset, and allowed for the side of Full Meta Jacket to take a quad kill with a great black hole into the boss stun, and just the huge amount of burst dot that comes out from Combustion and the Poison Nova. So a very, very good play there from them. I'm excited to see though what comes out in game 2, because there were some really promising moments for Cael'thas Can't Spell. I was honestly a little bit worried this was going to be a bit more stompy, and while they weren't able to quite get a fort, there was definitely some good play, and I feel like on a map a bit less snowbally maybe, as we do see often a lot of snowball on this map, especially since the tower changes. I think there's a good chance that we see Cael'thas Can't Spell maybe taking us to a game 3, or at least making game 2 close. Let's hopefully we will get that any moment now. I'm gonna take a second. I will be right back. I gotta blow my nose, and I don't want to do that on stream. But we're gonna get into our next map here in a second. All right, thank you for bearing with me there for a second. We are back. We've got our next map, and it is a map that I know some people aren't huge on as far as from the watching perspective, but I love playing this map. I love watching this map. We're going to Volskaya Foundry here for our second map here of the series, and this is something that I think is a really good opportunity for Cael'thas Can't Spell to start turning it around here. If they are able to maybe try and avoid some of that early structure damage, work on getting those team fights where they did look strong. It seemed like they were really just falling victim to some really strong picks here, which maybe we should have seen banned out. Stuff like the Zool and maybe even the Tassadar. So that's what I'm going to be watching here for in this next map. We'll hopefully be getting started any moment here. I'll go ahead and let the teams know that I am ready. All right, and it looks like we're actually going to have both teams ready. That was very fast. I was going to take a break there, get some water, but it looks like we should be hopping in any moment for our draft. Or not. It can take a while. But here we are. Volskaya Foundry is going to be our next. Can barely hear me. My apologies there. I think that's not something at the moment I can help. Sorry about that. I know Twitch can be pretty. I don't know. I find that normally I have to have everything on Twitch at max volume as well. It's not the nicest when it comes to dealing with the mic, and my mic is a little bit quiet as well. But we're good. Besides that, we've got a match here. So let's go ahead and get into that, as we're going to have the first pick again for Full Meta Jacket. So this was, again, the map pick of Cael'thas Can't Spell. They are more concerned about getting the maps that they like than getting that first pick position. And the Cael'thas is going to be the ban again from Full Meta Jacket. But what are we going to see from Cael'thas Can't Spell? I feel like they cannot let the Zool through again, because that enabled so much aggressive play early. And it was definitely very strong in the early game because of how much it allowed Full Meta Jacket to push in and take early towers, which really have a great impact enabling pushes. And it is going to be the Tassadar ban to start off. I really like seeing that. I think respecting something that was very strong is important. Adaptability there, and I think it can definitely pay dividends here, as we're going to have now the second ban coming in for Full Meta Jacket. Let me go ahead and get a poll started earlier this time. See if maybe we've got some comeback faith here in our blue team, or if we're going to see Full Meta Jacket take the whole thing, as they're going to be the ones to ban out Deathwing on this map. Understandably, I think 4-man Deathwing can be very scary on this map if you're not prepared to deal with it. The point can just be so dominated by that Flame Breath, by his ult. So not wanting to deal with that is completely understandable here. And the Zool is going to be the ban here. So that is both heroes, which I feel made plays. The Ariel, of course, with the Aegis, I think saved the last fight, but I think up until that point, it was the Tassadar and the Zool putting in a lot of work here. So I'm happy to see those banned out, but now first pick is here for Full Meta Jacket, and they're going to take the Li Ming this time. Alright. So the Li Ming here, taken away from D, and another powerful mage here for runtime logic. Can be very oppressive on the points, especially if you go into the potential triumvirate at level 4, looking for the extra poke there with the orb. But we're going to see Diablo and Deckard coming in for Full Meta Jack, or for Cael'thas Can't Spell here to start off their draft on this map. And I am liking the direction that we're seeing here. were heroes that not too often picked, but I think are very have very strong potential when they're played correctly. Especially, I think Deckard here can pull out some pretty cool tricks if they're able to get it played well here. Vala going to be the pick again, so confident in that. This time Anduin is the healer of choice to try and save them. So we're going to see neither of the front line picked up yet here. I would expect a tank ban coming out or maybe an offlane ban, but it's going to be the Garrosh ban again, and that's something that I don't think you can really go wrong with. Ah man, I wish I could extend these polls. I always feel like I give them too much time, but then, I always try to give them more than enough time, but I always seem to give them a bit too little. So we're gonna see the next ban here coming out for Full Meta Jacket, and it is going to be pulling out the full timer to make me sound awkward, but it's gonna be the Jaina, taking away probably the next best mage after Li Ming for the map, if not even just in general. Jaina is super capable of wave clear, team fight, camp clear, you name it, she can do it. And taking that away is leaving up not too many mages here, with both Cael'thas and Jaina banned, as well as Tassadar and Li Ming picked. So the mage is actually going to be left for the last spot here, as it's going to be the Blaze for our off lane. Going to have the bunker to protect, or maybe we're going to see the combustion like we saw last game, coming out to get the big damage there, and the Rainer for their sustained damage. Very powerful, buffed recently so that Exterminator can be completely insane, allow for super fast camp taking. But we've got a very aggressive setup now from Full Meta Jacket. Juggerod playing the Anubarak, hero who suffered a little bit from the tower changes, but still lets you be very aggressive, and another very aggressive hero in Imperius. Looks like so far people putting pretty willing to side here with Full Meta Jacket. Unfortunately, I did cut off that pull, or I didn't give that pull enough time. Ooh. But we're gonna see the Chromie. I love me a Chromie. I think Chromie is very much underrated, and can definitely be a playmaker here that we need to see from Cael'thas Can't Spell. They need to start making plays. We saw a lot of playmaking last game from Full Meta Jacket, from all members of the team really. So I'm happy to see some heroes here who can potentially make plays for Cael'thas Can't Spell as we head into our second map. I think this will it'll be an interesting one. Looking at these two teams, I think that I couldn't really give it to either one to just off of draft. Off of how we saw play, I think Full Meta Jacket probably would still be favored for me here. They have a very aggressive setup and a lot of potential to really jump on someone and blow them up, which I think can be very scary for Cael'thas Can't Spell. But you know what? Let's get into the game and see if they can prove me wrong. We're gonna start off with our blue team, Cael'thas Can't Spell. We have Stoic on the Rainer, Crushinator on the Blaze, Dorsch on the Diablo, Toons on the Deckard, and D on Chromie. Against them, we have Full Meta Jacket looking to close out this series, as we have Li Ming, played by Runtime Logic, Juggerod on Anubarak, Anduin, played by Sergeant Scoops, Suzan Vala once again, and Barber this time on Imperius. Starting out with Legion of Beetles here on Anubarak, so looking for aggression onto the structures potentially. Also bold strategy here for the Anduin, so looking for a more aggressive healing setup as well. So all in on the aggression here from Full Meta Jacket. Otherwise, everything pretty much what you would expect. Rotations not really heavily in favor of either team this time, as Chromie and Li Ming not really known for their wave clear. Neither are Vala or Rainer. All solid, but none really insane. So that is already something I think that's going very well here for our blue team, as they're going to get a little bit ahead on the rotations potentially. Need to make sure they're sending someone up here to catch the soak, but they've already got Raynor and Deckard down on the turret before Vala and Anduin get to their own. So a good start here for our blue team. That's what I like to see here. Hoping for a map number 3, as I like to do. Special Kid Miles asking, is Anubarak really bad with the tower changes now? I think he definitely struggles a lot more because you cannot be as aggressive under towers. But I think when well played, he can definitely be as impactful as he was before the tower changes, thanks to just his snap engage potential, the cocoon, insane in team fights. We'll have to see whether or not I am proven correct. There is a lot of damage actually getting put on to Juggerab. A nice root there coming in from Toons as well. They're doing a good job of harassing the Anubarak. Last game I felt like Johanna was getting constantly harassed, and it's good to see the harassment being paid back this game by Cael'thas Can't Spell. Level 4 is in for both teams. Looks like right now Barber on the Imperius struggling a little bit to keep up in wave clear, as you would expect. And Blaze rotating into the mid lane. They're aware of the fact that Full Meta Jacket was looking at the support camp there. And with their team on the siege camp, they wanted to just make sure that they were playing it safe, threatening away the team of Full Meta Jacket so that there wasn't going to be that item advantage. We do have the siege camp coming out a bit later for Full Meta Jacket. It's going to be able to push down the lane more effectively there, I think, than the camp, which is already being cleared out here from the side of Cael'thas Can't Spell. So that'll be something to see here. But the early position going to go over to the blue team, and they're even getting a lot of free structure damage here, which is very, very powerful. Going to reduce the amount of retreat potential that Full Meta Jacket has. Scouting out even the, or maybe not scouting it out. Well, now scouting it out, but too little, too late. Healing Beacon going to get picked up by Full Meta Jacket. Level 7's going to be in here soon for both teams. But the early charge in favor of Cael'thas Can't Spell. They just need to make sure that they aren't going to lose it because of that Healing Beacon that was picked up for free by Full Meta Jacket. Bit of a risky grab there, but the rotation barely too far to the left to be scouted out, so it is going to be free. Actually dropped a little early here, maybe jumping the gun a bit, as Full Meta Jacket not really getting too much value off of it, just using it to eat up a bit more poke. But Deckard doing his best to set up potions and get some roots here, which is what he does best on these point-based maps. Stoic actually taking a ton of burst here from Leeming and Vala in combination, but it's going to be Crushinator who falls first on the Blaze. Anubarak getting caught and dies before the pull can be completed, but Dorsch and Stoic both very low. Diablo going to fall there. And this is likely going to be the first objective going over now to Full Meta Jacket with that double kill. The poke was not enough from D to secure their objective, and it's going to go out for the red team here. Looking to poke onto the mid wall a little bit, but I would expect them to come up here to this top lane as they are, and they're going to focus onto this healing fountain here, try and get that so that they have the advantage for the next objective. D is going to be here, and worth noting is that hitting her sandblasts here onto the protector will give her stacks, so this is a really good opportunity for D to start stacking her level 1. Once you complete that quest, you have a huge power spike, doing a lot more damage there with your sandblasts, and even with the clone auto attacks here, as we're going to see a proper greeting here. I was right, that's what I thought it was, but I doubted myself. So, but a proper greeting is going to give the potential for some really high auto attack damage, which is something a lot of people don't really consider. Chromie, of course, having a super huge auto attack range. But levels pretty even, which is always a good thing to see. I felt like the level advantage did come in very heavily for full meta jacket and allowed them to snowball in the way that they did in the first map. So I'm happy to see Cael'thas Can't Spell keeping up right now. Ults coming in for both teams here. 10's any moment. Yep, gonna be here for the blue team, and we're going to see Combustion for Blaze, Stay a While and Listen for Deckard Cain, the Hyperion for Raynor, the Temporal Loop for Chromie, and Apocalypse finishing it off on the Diablo. Looking at the other side, pretty much what you would expect. We have the Cocoon for Nubarak, the Light Bomb. I don't know why I couldn't remember it from last game, but Light Bomb for Anduin, Rain of Vengeance, the Angelic Armaments, and actually the Disintegrate, so looking for even more poke potential from the Li Ming. Right now, both teams just kind of rotating around and clearing waves, poking at the other team's tank here. But a bit of a commitment onto Dorsch. The push back onto Nubarak. He's going to Cocoon Diablo to try and save his team there. Deny the Apocalypse follow-up, and it's going to be pretty effective here. Blaze coming in from the flank, not going to be able to catch Souza though, so both teams committing to some ults, but not really getting anything. And if anything, I think that favors full meta jacket here, as their ults are much lower cooldowns, I believe. And they also were able to keep Barber in this bottom lane, soaking for their team. So with Blaze rotating down to meet him, they're going to go for the heal camp here. It won't be scouted out, and that's going to be another free support beacon for full meta jacket. Something that I think is really underestimated here. It needs to be watched a bit more by Cael'thas Can't Spell, as that's basically a second healing fountain, which you're already down as a result of the first Triglav going in favor of full meta jacket. Alright, neither team really committing to anything right now. Just keeping up the rotations, and I think that's not bad, but I think I would like to see a bit more aggression here from full meta jacket. If you look at the cooldowns, as I mentioned, the cooldowns are a lot longer on the side of our blue team. Cael'thas Can't Spell, so with an Anubarak, with an Imperius, you could definitely force a fight as soon as you get your ults back. And that's something I would have liked to see, as now Cael'thas Can't Spell was kind of just allowed to get all of their abilities back. Looking at the damage right now, Vala actually holding the highest numbers. There's a ton of damage going to go out into Juggerab as he gets flipped into the tower. He's going to have to be pulled away by Sergeant Scoops. That's a really important cooldown going down. But right now, as I was saying, Vala holding the highest damage for her team. And Raynor, Li Ming, and Chromie all sitting around the same for the remainder of the damage dealers. Aggression starting up, and the jet propulsion followed up by the combustion, but it's immediately interrupted, and Crushing Eater going to get decked there. Deckard Cain gets a nice Stay a While and Listen, followed up by an APOC. That's going to be Sergeant Scoops, the Anduin falling. That's a healer down, but the tank is gone for the side of Cael'thas Can't Spell. D getting hit by the Disintegrate, not quite going to fall. Stoic also getting low, but they're going to be able to back off here. A 2-for-1 trade. Diablo did have souls, so he is going to be back. But if Cael'thas Can't Spell wants a chance, they need to get onto this point. And with Raynor backing, I think they're just giving yet another Triglav here. Going to be in favor of full meta jacket. That being said, level 13, we are going to start seeing some really big power spikes here. We have the super healing potions for Deckard Cain. We have the Devastating Charge there. Quest for Diablo. If he's able to complete that, he's going to be able to pretty much one-shot a Li Ming or Vala here on his own once the level 16 Overpower comes in. As well as the Gnome Speed ahead, going to give Chromie a lot more ability to survive the poke there. Protector went for the fort, but was pretty much alone, so it took quite a bit of its health there. They need to be careful, make sure that they're going to get that bottom fountain, and they're even going to just negate the, or ignore the mid lane, so that they can, in fact, get that. Rotations, pretty much what you'd expect, though. We're going to have offlaners offlaning, and everyone else just focusing on the objective. Only 15 seconds left on it, but they should be able to get that fountain. Yep, there it goes. And they're going to be able to back off nice and easy. But now at this point, it seems pretty similar to last game. Cael'thas Can't Spell is very close in these team fights on these objective phases, but always seems to fall a bit behind, and now they're a level down. Grabbing their turret, which is lucky thing for them that the 16 talents aren't quite in yet for full meta jacket, but now that they are, that's going to be probably another healing beacon all but secured, and with the 5-man rotation, that is going to be the case here. Very powerful tools coming in at 16 for full meta jacket. You're looking at Epicenter, Inner Focus, Manticore, the Melting Touch, and the Mirror Ball. So much damage, so much CC. That's going to be very scary if you're looking at it from the perspective of Cael'thas Can't Spell, as that's a lot more potential for engage here, and for the blow-ups, even onto something like a Diablo. He's been doing pretty well in teamfights so far at just eating up the damage and not worrying about it, but now he's low on souls and Manticore is in, so he's going to be getting chunked down very quickly, as well as Blaze, who we saw getting chunked very quickly in the last fight. Alright. Looks like teams just rotating around each other for the moment. I would like to see a bit more aggression again. Full Meta Jacket not really taking advantage of their talent tier. More than beyond just getting the healing beacon. I think they could have maybe tried to force in, take the fountain in the middle lane or something along those lines, but gonna play it safe, and I guess you can't really go wrong with that. Gonna just grab their camps, keep their lanes pushed out, and force the burden of making a comeback onto Cael'thas Can't Spell here. That being said, the Light Bomb engage with Epicenter gonna get onto Diablo, and he just disappears. As I said, the amount of burst here from the blue team is, or from the red team, is pretty ridiculous. And with the Cocoon onto Raynor, that is looking likely to be another kill, and it is. Even with the root from Decker Kane, there's not going to be enough there to prevent the kill, and that's going to likely be the first or second fort of the game here, falling here in the bottom lane. Full Meta Jacket just looking very clean, consistently staying barely ahead.
A protector is almost ready. Access its terminal when I bring it online.
So something worth noting, of course, is with this top lane fort down, that is going to be catapult pressure during this objective phase. So while level 20s won't be here unless there's a very dominant team fight for the side of Full Meta Jacket, if Cael'thas Can't Spell wants to take the fight, they're going to have to give up some structure damage, likely in this top lane, and even in the middle lane now, as the fort going to be secured before Raynor is able to come back and help out his team here. And looking at items, we have just the turret here for our blue team, whereas we have both a healing beacon and a turret. So again, having the healing beacon in their favor for Cael'thas, or for Full Meta Jacket. Cael'thas Can't Spell really just struggling a little bit to keep their eyes on that camp. Alright. That being said, though, this is an even talent tier fight, potentially, for Cael'thas Can't Spell, so this is their best chance to come back into it. Diablo has the reset onto his Shadow Charge there. We have actually level 20 talent coming in for Chromie in the Piercing Sands. A very nice push onto Juggerab, going to deny the Light Bomb, saving his team there, but Blaze is going to fall in the back line. Dorsch getting very low and falling as well. That's both of the front line dead for the side of Cael'thas Can't Spell, and Raynor is going to be the next casualty, as not able to escape from the Anubarak. Temporal Loop used mostly just to save Chromie there, and that's going to be the channel onto this objective again, starting up for the red team, looking like they're most likely going to be able to take yet another one. Of course, Chromie, with the Piercing Sands, with the Shifting Sands, has very strong defensive capabilities here. We'll have to see if they're able to use it to stay in this game. As with level 20 talents coming in, you have the Farflight Quiver, Rewind, the Varian's Legacy completing the build here for Anduin, as well as the Heavenly Host and Temporal Flux coming in for full meta jacket. Lots of very strong talents here, and even picking up the camp in the top lane, willing to just play it so slow and make sure that they're getting as much value out of this as possible.
Blue team has taken control of a protector.
And with that, with the 20 talents, Cael'thas Can't Spell doesn't really have much choice but to try and defend this. Going to be pretty difficult here, although they are lucky to have two very strong defensive DPS, Raynor and Chromie, chunking this down pretty effectively so far. That being said, I don't think there is any saving the keep, and it is looking like it's going to fall. Diablo getting chunked so heavily, even with 81 souls, he just disappears from sight, thanks to the Manticore and thanks to the percent damage from Barber on the Imperius. A nice temporal loop coming out onto Souza, going to get caught, and that is the first kill in a long while here for Cael'thas Can't Spell, going to result in them being able to keep alive for the moment. That being said, with the level 20 advantage still there, it's going to be a bit scary here. One healing beacon dropped, the other still being held onto, going to get dropped as well by Sergeant Scoops. That's all of the items down. Crushinator barely getting out, but Deckard Cain now stuck in the cocoon and looking like he's going to fall as well, and he will. But Barber falls to the Chromie and the Raynor there, putting in huge damage. So overall, a very favorable trade, considering that from the blue team's perspective, they were down level 20s, they were down both healing beacons, and now the playing field, other than of course the map, is even. There is a turret coming in here for the red team. What happened to the last turret? I guess that got dropped there. But we're going to see now a minimal item advantage. And level 20s are here. We have, of course, as I mentioned, the Piercing Sands, but also Flash Fire, Respect the Elderly, Execute, and the Hellgate coming in for Cael'thas Can't Spell. Very strong team fight potential if they're able to survive the initial burst that has been coming in onto their frontliners. With Deckard down, though, they do have to play it safe, and they're going to go ahead and back up after clearing the wave, knowing full meta jacket might try for something since they have their healer, making it pretty favorable. But now, just back to the rotation game once again. We're going to have both of these teams just trying to kind of stay away from each other and control as much of the map as they can. Pings coming out onto the support camp from both teams, it looks like. And this time there is going to be a fight around it, and that is something that I have been waiting for since the beginning of the game here from Cael'thas Can't Spell. And with so much chunk coming onto this now, it looks like it is going to go to them with not too much contesting it. Really nice pickup there. The zoning potential coming in from the Chromie and the Diablo, even the Deckard, going to allow them to now get what I would consider an item advantage, as it's going to be the healing beacon to the turret. Of course, it does have to be remembered that right now the healing fountain is still intact for the red team, as well as all of their forts, whereas with the bottom lane keep being down, Crushinator coming to clear in the bottom lane, they're going to have to keep an eye on that, otherwise they could fall even further behind or just straight up lose to some nice old-fashioned Winions. Even pushing in the top lane right now for the side of full meta jacket, while they know that Cael'thas Can't Spell is going to be pushing out the bottom lane, they're going to apply pressure onto the second keep here with a catapult and 3 siege minions here from the camp pickup. But now, regardless of the map pressure, I think this is the fight that's going to make the game. Dorsch starting to cancel a back just in case of a backdoor attempt. But with 2 turrets against a turret and a healing fountain, not much time left here for full meta jacket to make a move. Looks like they're trying to see if Cael'thas Can't Spell is going to rotate out to defend the lanes. But Cael'thas Can't Spell isn't yet. They are sending Blaze now, so that is going to be the time for them to retreat. And that is going to be the point going over to Full Metal Jacket for the moment, but 92% secured for Cael'thas Can't Spell. If they're ever able to step back onto that point, I would expect that they might get it. That being said, forcing a fight down 2 members would not be a good move there. But Diablo's going to get out just fine, and the turret is going to get deployed here and cleared up, I would imagine. No, not yet, but it's going to be out of range of this next team fight here. So overall, looking good here. Up the healing beacon for Cael'thas Can't Spell. That being said, Crushinator getting chunked, getting hit by the light bomb, and is going to be the first blood in this team fight. Blue team is down a member, but I think they just have to take this fight regardless of being down a member. APOC going to get ripped, but Dorsch getting chunked so quickly once again, and that is going to be the objective coming out for Full Meta Jacket once again. Diablo will fall eventually. The remainder of the team able to run away. D actually even getting the kill onto Vala there with a nice temporal loop, but I think it is a bit too little too late, as against this 4th protector, which is just walking through the bottom lane, there is not that much chance of retreat. Looking at the damage numbers, Vala with the Farflight Quiver able to put out tons of damage. Chromie doing a lot as well, but not enough to keep her team in. Diablo now getting caught by Barber there. Gonna have the tap, but this is a very healthy Punisher and Protector, and you can see it is chunking the core. Shields don't matter. The Chromie doesn't matter. This is going to be game number 2 going out to Full Meta Jacket. Good game. All right. Very well played there from both sides, but in the end, the coordination coming out from Full Meta Jacket, which is something that you would expect. They're very much a more seasoned team. This, of course, being the first match ever for the side of Cael'thas Can't Spell, and performing very well for it. Gonna reach out here, see if we can get an interview potentially going on. So go ahead and leave any questions you have for Full Meta Jacket in the chat here, as we should be getting started in a moment. Hopefully, we're going to see one of them joining us here. All right, but yeah, really great plays there from both sides. I think I was very impressed. Going against a seasoned team, I was a bit worried for Cael'thas Can't Spell. I think they did very well, considering this was their first outing here.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. That was a fun series. You guys have to feel good coming out with the 2-0 starting off the season.
Yeah, definitely nice to get 2 wins, a match win overall in the first week.
All right, so looking at this season, how are you guys feeling in general? I always want to kind of scout that out. So you're in D East this season, coming down from C last season. So how are you guys feeling as a team?
It's probably a little early into this season to say for sure. But you know, last season we had a really rough season. And so we tried to make some changes. We've practiced some new strategies, had some role swaps within the 5-man, and hopefully we're able to make improve this season over last season.
All right. Well, you guys definitely looked good. Looking at game one, what were you thinking during the draft? Like you got Zool and you got Tassadar. There had to be some kind of nerves there. Were you thinking there was going to be some spicy last pick, or what were the thoughts there?
I not too certain because you don't often lose the coin flip and then get first pick. So I wasn't exactly sure. I was a little bit afraid because definitely like having Matt pick, you have a strategy, and if you're able to execute it, like the other team just can't come back from that. But during the draft, we were looking for a few things, and we tried to leave as many options open for what we wanted for first pick. So I think we got what we were. I mean, we got what we were looking for, and so we were able to turn that into a victory.
Absolutely. So looking at game two now, since you guys I think dominated game one pretty easily, it looked much more back and forth, and towards the end you were against a Chromie and a Rainer who both scale very, very well. So was there ever any doubt, or were you guys feeling confident? I know you played around the macro pretty well there towards the end, but what were your thoughts there?
Yeah, there was definitely a doubt. There was a couple of times where we were looking to fight them, and then we were like, wait, never mind. They will shred us if we fight them in this particular area. When they were at one point on the third objective, when they're rotating down, I may have even pinged to step up there. And then, like, as soon as they showed, I backed off because I was like, oh, yeah, right. APOC, Hyperion, Chromie, and Deckard, all in that tight choke is gonna shred us. So I think we're pretty well aware of like how much they were scaling and how much damage they were able to output in the later part, and we kind of changed our game plan from more of a team fight to being a little bit more macro, and trying to get them out of position and get them in places where we thought we had the better team fight.
Definitely. Well, I'm gonna ask one more question before I let you give shout outs and go on. So from this first series of the season, if you had to give an MVP to someone on your team or on the other team, who would you say the MVP was?
I would say for I don't know. I'm gonna give it to Scoops. He's the unsung hero of our team. He doesn't talk too much, but he doesn't have to because he always keeps us alive in situations in which normally I feel like I should be dead. So that's great. I appreciate him. And did you say an MVP for their team as well?
If you want, go ahead.
I just think that I'm not going to single out a specific person, but I know that they're a new team and they're working hard to get better. And I think this first game might not be an indication of where they're going to be later on in the season. I was actually really nervous to play them. We spent a lot of time scouting, so I was nervous to play them knowing where we came from and what we were up to and where they were at. So I do think that we'll see some big things from them coming out of towards the end of the season.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Thanks for the excellent series. Floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Just shout out to Full Meta Jacket and all of our subs. Shout out to Cael'thas Can't Spell. And also thank you for casting.
Of course. All right. You have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Thanks. Take care.
All right. That is it for me for tonight. We did have some raids coming in as well as some follows. So thank you to DB Smiley and Taco there for the raids. I'll see if this notification works or not. It does work. Great. Perfect. There. Got some nice raids coming in from them. Very appreciative of that. I'm going to see if I can raid us over to someone here. If we've got any series still running, I think we probably should. Yep, let's go ahead and raid on over here. All right. Thank you everyone, of course, who came out. If you have any feedback, you can do the ! feedback command that'll give you a link. You can go ahead and let me know how I did. Let me know how I can improve. I would very much appreciate it. But for now, that's all I've got. I'm going to go ahead and host us over for another series that is currently starting up. So go ahead and show them some love. Thanks, everyone. I'm out.